What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another page of the playbook. This is Nate coming at you guys with another off-season grade. Today's team. Addison, why don't you tell the people who we're doing today? Before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a special shout out to today's sponsors, starting with Gold Fine and Bowles, lawyers for the injured. Personal injury, workers' compensation, those are their two things, but any sort of legal advice, they're the people to call. Give them a phone call, 309-673-5144. Tell them we sent you, okay? And I'd also like to shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video as well. Use promo code PLAYBOOKSPORTS on their website to get $20 off your first purchase of $30 or more. Let's get back to the video. All right, let's talk last year. Bears fans, this one hurts, all right? I get it. You come into the year, high expectations. This is kind of a pat yourself on the back moment for me. I predicted 7-10 for the Bears. I said you double your wins. Hopefully you see some growth out of Fields. They more than doubled their wins because they won 3, right? I predicted 7. So they went 7-10, except you did not see the growth out of Justin Fields you wanted. Obviously, people were talking him up. MVP. It never materialized. It just didn't work with Fields. Hopefully he does okay in Pittsburgh. But last year was a huge disappointment. But even that, it worked out okay, right? Because Carolina gave you the number 1 overall pick. They let it, you just fell right into your lap. You didn't have to do a darn thing. You won 7 games, and you got the number 1 pick in the draft. Unbelievable. That was a saving grace. So, Bears fans, you're anxious for success. Has the team done enough to give you some expectations going into this year? Do you think you're going to see that success? What have they done this offseason to work towards it? Let's talk about it. So, coaches in, out. We lost one coach, offensive coordinator Luke Getsy. They should have fired Eberflus, but they didn't. We'll talk about that later. And they brought in offensive coordinator Shane Waldron out of Seattle, who essentially became a free agent offensive coordinator once Pete Carroll was relieved of duties in Seattle or quit or whatever happened out there. I don't remember. But either way, Shane Waldron comes over. I like Shane Waldron. I think he really did get quite a bit out of the Seattle offense that had limited talent. And so I'd like to see what he's going to do here in Chicago. Yeah, it makes me a little nervous for Rome Odunze because Jackson Smith and Jigba did not touch the ball nearly enough as the number 3. Rome will probably be the number 3 day 1. If it's not him, it's Keenan Allen. I'd prefer Rome as the number 2. Use him. Get him out there. Keenan Allen's old. He's on a 1-year contract. So I like the hiring. Let's talk free agency. Darnell Mooney left for Atlanta. That's all right. You're not going to miss him, especially with your current wide receiver room. Defensive end, Yannick Ngakoue is still currently a free agent, so you could bring him back if you wanted to. I just don't see them doing that. Eddie Jackson was allowed to walk, and then obviously, like I mentioned, Justin Fields traded for only a 6th-round pick that could maybe be a 4th. I'm shocked by the lack of value there. I do think maybe that Ryan Poles was trying to do solid by Justin Fields, send him to a place where he might have a chance to play, although Russell Wilson kind of complicates that. But it gives him an opportunity to grow out there. And it sounds like that's maybe where Justin wanted to go, and Poles was like, all right, that's fine, let's just execute this thing and get you going. So if that's the case, I respect that, Ryan Poles. That was a classy move to do. Although there was not a ton of buzz around the trade for Fields, not nearly as much as Bears fans thought and were hoping for. So not a ton as far as losses go. Free agency additions, pretty active in free agency. DeAndre Swift was one of the first ones that they signed. 3 years, $24.5 million for him. Not terrible money for a solid running back. I do think the Bears maybe jumped at this one just a little bit because he's a solid running back. These guys grow on trees. I hate to say it. Sorry, running backs, but they do. Solid running backs, honest to God, grow on trees. Please give Roschon Johnson a shot. I think he could be excellent, and they just aren't going to give him a chance. I really think Roschon could be the future, and I think you should have given him the chance and maybe taken a guy 3rd or 4th round. That's just me. They also added Keenan Allen via trade. I think he's still got the juice, man. I really do. He did only play 13 games last year, but in 13 games, 108 catches, over 1,200 yards, and 7 touchdowns. You'll take that. If I told you, hey, Keenan Allen's going to miss some time, but he's still going to go over 1,200 yards and have 7 scores, you're going to be like, I'll sign up for that. Thank you very much. I will say, issues with that signing, just to play both sides of it here. Obviously, he's older. He's 32 years old. It's just a 1-year thing. But, man, and he's missed 11 games these last 2 seasons. But he has a huge cap hit. $23 million against the cap this season. He's taking up 9% of the Bears' cap space to be like a 2/3 wide receiver. So hopefully he stays on the field because that cap space has already been spent. You can't get that money back.
and they aren't going to extend him out because you just drafted his replacement, obviously, in Romo Dunze. So that's just a lot of money to swallow. But if you can afford it like the Bears obviously can, I like it. I think it's a good signing. I like they brought in Kevin Byard, 2 years, $15 million. Still, very solid safety and very cheap contract. He'll just replace Eddie Jackson straight away, be better than Eddie Jackson was here. I really like that a lot. And then I also wanted to just briefly mention re-signing Jalen Johnson, keeping him in-house. Brilliant. You could not let him walk. So, free agency. I think a net positive for sure. Not a ton of loss. Obviously, the Bears are coming off of 2 seasons where they've won a total of 10 games. So you can only really go up from there. Let's just say they won 7 games last year. They added talent. I like the additions here. I think they did a great job in the draft too. Let's talk about it. I think the Bears should get credit for doing the obvious thing here and not trying to be the smartest people in the room. There are GMs who would have overthought this and messed it up. Caleb Williams was the pick. He was the guy. Number 1 pick out of USC. He's been the number 1 pick since his first start. The kid has all the talent in the world. All the talent in the world. If he just plays within the structure of the offense the Bears lay out for him, he can be an absolute monster. The only bad pick here could have been to not take Caleb Williams. So they did the right thing. Now it's on the Bears. This kid's probably the most talented quarterback the Bears have ever had in franchise history. It is now on the Bears coaches to get the most out of him. This is a guy where if he does not show up these first 2 years, coaches are gone because it's not him. It's unlikely that it's Caleb Williams and it's the coaching. So I think that was the perfect best pick. And then a slam dunk. Slam dunk at number 9, getting Romo Dunze to fall. Could have been a wide receiver 1 in several draft classes. 6'3", 215 pounds. Fantastic route runner. An excellent contested catch guy. Stud wide receiver. Just a stud wide receiver, man. Absolutely love that pick. I mean, just to have him fall right into their laps at pick 9. Thank you all the teams in front that passed and made mistakes, because Romo Dunze is going to be a Bear for a while. Him and DJ Moore together is going to be nasty. Fantastic combo. Love that pick for the Bears. And then they didn't pick again until pick number 75. They took developmental tackle Kieran Amagaji out of Yale. Massive human being. Needs some time to work on the technical side of things, which is okay. Chicago does not need him to play right away. They've got Braxton Jones. They've got Darnell Wright. Kieran Amagaji does not have to play right away. You give him some time to learn eventually, but this way now you don't have to pay Braxton Jones when he comes up in free agency in a year or 2. You can just slide Kieran Amagaji right in there and he'll be cheaper, younger, ready to roll. I like that pick. I really do. The only pick of their draft I didn't like was Torrey Taylor in the 4th round, and it's not even that I don't like it. It's just that I personally cannot get behind drafting a punter in the 4th round. Best punter in college football by a mile. Punters can be weapons. Punters can absolutely be weapons. I just think that the Bears only had so many picks that taking a punter is just questionable, in my opinion. Again, I don't hate the player. I think Torrey Taylor is a fantastic punter and will be a great punter for them. But again, similar to running backs, there are so many punters out there who can boot the ball, who can absolutely boot it. I don't know. It's a tough one. That's really the only pick I really question, honestly. And then I like that they traded a 2025 4th round pick to get back into the draft and take edge rusher Austin Booker out of Kansas. Not a ton of experience, only 505 total snaps. Needs to put on some weight. He's just a little bit small right now, but he has a ton of upside. This was a huge upside pick for them. They took a couple of guys, him and Amagaji, who just have super high upside if they can reach it. Again, this is all on the Bears coaching staff now. They have been given the pieces. If this Bears team struggles this year, Eberflus is gone, probably Shane Waldron is gone, whoever their defensive coordinator gone. You clean house coaching-wise because there's no excuse. You have way too much talent. Way too much talent in Chicago to not have at least a decent season this year, in my opinion. I really like the Bears draft. Like I said earlier, not every team does the expected thing, and the Bears did the expected things. They took the players that they should have. Both of their first rounders are going to contribute immediately. Immediate contributors. And no, maybe I don't love the punter pick, but special teams is so much more important than I think we give it credit for. I give them an A- for this draft, which is one of my highest grades. I think it's actually the highest one I've given out so far. I give them an A-, and the only reason it's not an A is because they only had 5 picks. I would have loved for them to have a few more picks to see what they did because they crushed it. Ryan Poles, fantastic draft class. So overall, this offseason, honestly, I really think that this could have been an A+ offseason. but they could have only gotten it if they fired Matt Eberflus. I'm not a believer in Matt Eberflus as a head coach. Defensive coordinator, maybe. Not as a head coach. If they'd fired him and brought in somebody excellent as an offensive guy, I would love what they've done this offseason. But if they, like I said, if they come out of the blocks slow this year, I think Eberflus may be one of the first. I don't know if the Bears ever have fired a coach midseason. This could be the first one if they come out 1-4. Right? They come out super slow. See ya. You're done. We're just going to promote Shane Waldron to head coach, and we're going to go from there. That's what I would do. Outside of that, I love what they've done. I like the pieces that they're building. They still need some. I don't think I'd consider them a Super Bowl contender or anything like that just yet, but I really like what they're building in Chicago. I think that Booker has the opportunity. I do think they should get a vet defensive end. Like, kick the tires on Yannick Ngakoue. See what he wants. Just get a vet to go across from Sweat because Booker's not ready and you need a guy out there. But very strong offseason for the Bears. Bears fans, you should probably get a little excited about what your team's building. You guys get an A for your offseason this year. And we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting year for Bears fans. Don't let the expectations get too high because then it hurts so much more. Caleb's a rookie quarterback at the end of the day. So try and temper those expectations as best as you can. But it's been an awesome offseason for Chicago. That's all I've got for you guys on the Chicago Bears. We will see you guys in tomorrow's episode where we will be doing, it is Cincinnati? Cincinnati. We'll see you guys then.